our lineup here in the Now. If you got a text message offering you a job, you might think it's a scam, but we're going to tell you how you can tell if it's actually the real thing. And more places are raising the minimum age to buy tobacco products to 21, but we are learning that those new policies may have some hidden red flags that could really keep them from actually helping. And we're also going to take you on an exclusive tour at the lab at NASA's Johnson Space Center. We're going to get an inside look at some of the universe's most famous space rocks.
Thank you, Chris. I'm Amanda Starantino, and this is the Now Indy on RTV6. The Indiana State Fair starts tomorrow, and right now a crucial part of keeping you safe at the fair is underway. We go around with ride inspectors to show you what they do in order to make sure the Midway is safe for you.
Currently on site, we have 23 inspectors that are out here inspecting.
Matthew Cronley is the chief for amusement ride safety. He says they are double checking all 57 rides before opening day.
Most of it is just the safety features, so especially like your belts, your buckles, if it locks or clips or clicks, we want to make sure that that happens, make sure that it just doesn't randomly disengage.
Plus, on every ride, there is a green sticker with a phone number. So if you feel unsafe at any time, Cronley says to call the number and an inspector will come right away.
The inspections are very detailed. We look at these rides, we look at nuts and bolts, we look at electrical hooks-up, we look at how the rides are running, with the speed of the ride, if it's proper speed or not.
Chief Greason says they will continue to check on those rides every day throughout the fair.
We're confident in our team. We're confident in our inspections. I've ridden these rides myself after the inspections are complete. I can confidently say that you can bring your family, your friends, your kids, your grandchildren out here to the state fair, and you'll have a fun experience.
And the all clear was given today for the attractions in the Midway. The Indiana State Fair kicks off its 17-day run tomorrow, which also happens to be RTV6 day at the fair. RTV6 will be live from the fair throughout the day, starting with Good Morning Indiana. We will bring you the sights and sounds of opening day in real time, which includes a band day. Join us for all the fun on Friday. The State Fair runs until August 18th. It's medical history. 2 Indiana women become the first 2 deceased uterus donors in the state's history, all in hopes of giving other women the gift of a child. In July, an Indiana woman in her 30s died unexpectedly and became an organ donor, but she also became Indiana's first ever uterus donor. The surgery happened at Parkview Regional Medical Center in Fort Wayne. Then a woman in her 40s passed away, became the second ever Indiana woman to donate her uterus. This operation happened at IU Health Methodist Hospital in Indianapolis. The hope is 2 women out of there will each get a new uterus, so they have a chance at becoming mothers.
5:33 on a sunny Thursday. Temperatures over the next few days will continue to warm up, but it's oh so gradual. There won't be any real wave of heat coming our way. Just want to show you, closest thunderstorms sit over the Buckeye State, and they're literally sitting there, going nowhere. You get rain, they get a ton of it. We've had some flood warnings. For us, it's all about sunshine, light wind, and temperatures that will, in some spots, fall back into the 50s again tonight. Maybe you've had the windows open during the evening hours with the humidity low. Those are the temperatures in the low 80s right now. Between now and 11 o'clock, any clouds that you see out your window disappear. We'll still be at 74 at 11 tonight.
We start the Now newsfeed with the Senate passing a budget deal today. Now, the House had already passed this 2-year plan, and it's a big deal because this approval will mean no financial crisis, shutdown, and spending cuts. Another Olympic athlete saying that she was sexually assaulted by her coach. This time it's bronze medalist figure skater Ashley Wagner. She wrote in USA Today that her former coach assaulted her when she was 17 and 22. That former coach took his own life in January, one day after he was suspended by the U.S. Center for Safe Sport. The Department of Justice will not prosecute former FBI Director James Comey. It would have been over his handling of memos that turned out to have classified information. CNN reports the DOJ doesn't feel there was evidence showing Comey knew that he intended to violate laws when it comes to handling classified information. The U.S. will hit China with another round of tariffs. President Trump saying trade negotiations are just not moving along as quickly as he'd like. Now, this latest round will be 10% tariffs on $300 billion of Chinese imports. They're set to go into effect September 1st. Important one here for parents. A third company now recalling 2 incline sleepers for babies. Now take a closer look at these devices right here on your screen. This is the Eddie Bauer Slumber. It comes with the Soothe Rock bassinet. Now the Disney Baby Doze comes with the Dream bassinet. Now both of them made by Durrell Juvenile Group. Now the company says it's recalling its baby sleepers just because of concerns about infant safety. Now, Durrell says so far there haven't been any injuries or deaths from its sleepers, but earlier this year, 30 infant deaths were blamed on other incline sleepers. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the babies died after turning over on the Fisher-Price Rock and Play sleeper. Kids 2 also recalling its version of an incline sleeper. That product was associated with 5 deaths. Now, while only 3 companies have issued recalls, pediatricians say it's because the sleepers are at an angle. Gravity can pull babies down, and it really causes their head to go forward or to the side. It can ultimately block their airway.
There are a number of other manufacturers who have these things out on the market. I cannot in any way think of a safe way that any family could use any of those things.
Now that's Dr. Hoffman, who you just heard from, who says the reason other incline sleepers haven't been recalled is because there just isn't enough specific information to do that yet. Experts say babies should sleep on their back on a flat surface. Let's get back to our lineup here on The Now. And if you received a text message offering you an interview for a job, I mean, at this point, you might think because it's a text that it's a scam. But believe it or not, more recruiters now actually doing this, and it's totally legit. So we're going to get into how you can tell if that message is actually the real thing.
Visit your local Chase branch.
Welcome back to The Now, Indy on RTV6. Tonight, a local school district is apologizing. A student was left on the bus for nearly a half hour this morning after not exiting the bus with the other kids at school. It happened on a Perry Township school bus. The district says the child boarded the bus this morning, but for some reason, the student stayed on the bus and did not go into school. The driver went back to the transportation center, apparently without noticing. According to Perry Township Schools, after about 25 minutes, an employee at the transportation center found the child. The district tells us they have reminded all of their school bus drivers of the rule that they have to walk through and check the entire bus after every route.
If you're on the job hunt, don't be surprised if you get a text message from a recruiter, because more companies are searching for talent that way. Let's get to The Now's Amy Taylor showing us how you can handle messages like this.
Even for those of us who are pretty connected to technology and phones, a text about a job might catch us by surprise. First thought probably is whether it's a scam, but in many cases, it's likely legitimate. Recruiters are using texting to set up interviews for a number of jobs, including pilots and nurses. Companies like Whole Foods, UPS, and Ford are texting potential candidates through the Text Recruit technology. Now, Dan Ryan works with companies across the country, helping hire top talent in some of the most in-demand industries. He's been using text as a way to connect with the potential new hires for years now.
If I'm texting somebody for the first time, I'm always going to include my name, and in many cases, I'm also going to put in my email address.
Now, Ryan encourages people who are text recruited to do a little homework of their own. Verify who they're texting with or the company they're texting about. You can do that by visiting a company's website or looking for the person on LinkedIn. You could also make a simple phone call.
I think the responses have been overwhelmingly positive, and people respond quickly. They'll tell me a better way to reach them. But I think people like to communicate by text.
Okay, but don't be surprised if you aren't chatting with a live person at first. Some companies start with a computer service that connects you to the right hiring manager or recruiter once you respond.
All right, Andy, thank you. We got more to get to here in our lineup on The Now. More cities and states have been raising the minimum age to buy tobacco products to 21. But we're also learning those new policies may have some hidden red flags that could keep them from actually working.
Working for you.
Let's start the Now news feed. Are people racist when it comes to robots? That is probably something you never really thought about, but we're going to lay out an argument that a new study from New Zealand is making. Researchers point to the white shade of material that's used in robots in the movies, but also in real life, the ones being developed by companies. And researchers say that they actually found that people apply racial stereotypes to robots based on the shade of their material. Well, if you have old video games, you may not have touched them for years, but they may be worth some big-time money. An unopened copy of the game Kid Icarus is expected to go for $10 grand at an online auction. A Nevada man found that 1987 game at his mom's house in perfect condition. Southwest flight attendants, they always do try to keep things interesting, but I want you to take a look at this video from a passenger. This flight attendant surprising passengers in the overhead bin. Hopefully you didn't have a carry-on you needed to put up there. Why did she do it? I guess trying to just be funny. We're not really sure, but I guess the answer might be why not? Well, a new look today at which areas are doing a better job than others at helping people quit tobacco. The report from the Cancer Action Network also looked at what more needs to be done to help young smokers. The report wanted to find out how states measure up in terms of different policies that are known to reduce cancer and smoking rates. Things like higher taxes on cigarettes, funding for programs that help people quit, and smoke-free laws. Now, also the report has a new policy that concerns the Cancer Action Network, raising the minimum smoking age to 21.
Unfortunately, what we are seeing is that tobacco companies also are supporting Tobacco 21 policies, and a lot of times the devil is in the details with these policies, and we are finding that oftentimes tobacco companies are hijacking these well-intentioned laws to further their agenda.
The report found 55 of the 88 age of sale bills introduced this year included provisions that they say advances tobacco industry interests. Kathy Calloway says the evidence isn't there yet that raising the minimum smoking age actually reduces tobacco use. Some 21 policies may prevent local governments from creating stronger rules than the state level, and penalties are also focused on underage smoking instead of holding retailers accountable. Some 21 policies include language making e-cigarettes exempt from other tobacco laws. Now, overall, the Cancer Action Network found more than half of states are making progress in policies that reduce cancer, but only 3 states are doing what they consider well.
A new clinic aims to be part of the solution in combating the opioid epidemic that Indiana currently faces. Today, Landmark Recovery celebrated its ribbon-cutting ceremony at its new Carmel location. Landmark Recovery is a 48-bed inpatient drug and alcohol rehab facility. According to the clinic, the number of fatal overdoses in Indiana has increased by 800% since 1999. So Landmark Recovery says it's their goal to educate people about the problem and offer solutions. And the clinic says the need for solutions is big in Indiana.
It's big everywhere, but particularly in Indiana, we're actually higher than the national average for opiate prescriptions and also deaths from opiate overdoses. So the need is definitely here.
Landmark Recovery is located in the 13,000 block of North Meridian Street in Carmel, and the clinic will start accepting patients on August 16th. Kevin, gorgeous day outside.
Unbelievable. If it feels like a Friday, don't fall for it. It's Thursday. We got one more work day, and it'll be just as nice as today. As you look at Monument Circle, shadows grow a little longer. Sun is now setting before 9 o'clock. As we step into the month of August, temperatures do slide the other way. For example, 66 is our average low now. By the end of the month down to 62, and high temperatures move from 85 down to 83. Comfortable night ahead. In some cases, upper 50s once again. We're dry through the weekend, and more humidity will be felt early next week. I don't think at all this weekend you'll really notice the humidity too much. Model of consistency with temperatures. We're all in this together. Low 80s right now, and I think that's pretty much our high temperature tomorrow. We'll step it up a little bit as we go into the weekend. There are the coolest temperatures off to the north and west. First thing Friday morning, middle to upper 50s. Indy sits at about 61. With all the sunshine in the air, relatively dry, we'll quickly start to warm up. Noontime, 80 degrees. 83 will be the afternoon high, with partly to mostly sunny skies. Temperatures from west to east, north to south, all about average, maybe a degree or two below. Let's look at your Saturday. We do start to warm up a bit without much in the way of humidity. We'll hit 85 for the afternoon high. In the 4-day forecast, that's where you'll start to see even warmer temperatures and a touch more humidity. We'll unveil that shortly.
Medical debt is leaving people feeling like they're out of options, even forcing more of us to file for bankruptcy because of it. Let's get to Chris Welch, introducing us to one woman who struggled to get by until she received an unbelievable letter in the mail.
This is my mail.
In the cabinet and out of sight. It's where Kahea Kewo keeps her mail because lately it's just been a lot of bills.
You can't pay it off. It's so high. The one visit. So that's why you're like, okay, this month I can pay rent, but you have no extra to even pay towards the medical bills.
Medical bills she racked up after a visit to the emergency room without insurance.
I had an ovarian cyst that burst, and so it's very, very, very painful. Didn't really have a ton of money, and you just go and say, bill me later.
And they did. But buried in that stack of mail was a gift that went unopened for months.
It's because I was scared that it was another bill.
It was this letter saying her debt was being paid for by an anonymous donor.
Yeah, I just thought it was a scam.
We tell them, Google ripmedicaldebt.org and see if we're for real.
Craig Antico co-founded RIP Medical Debt.
15 million people have just one bad mark on their credit report, and it's a medical debt. It's nuts.
It's a New York-based nonprofit that buys medical debt from a hospital, debt that would very likely never be paid anyway, for a fraction of the total cost.
So we go in and we tell the hospital, hey, this person obviously can't pay you. Why don't you let us buy it from you?
So far, they've gotten rid of over $400 million worth of debt. And for people like Kaywo, having a $1,000 bill erased can be a lifesaver for a family like hers on a limited income.
Just having one more thing gone and paid off. So I'd say hopeful is the best thing that kind of kicks you off of seeing better days.
Reporting in Draper, Utah, I'm Chris Welch.
Let's start the Now News feed. Guns are always a big issue in elections, and two gun safety groups will host a forum of Democrats running for president in October. The forum's going to happen on October 2nd. That'll be the day after the second anniversary of the Las Vegas shooting, the largest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Problems at Notre Dame. Paris has stopped restoration work over concerns people could be exposed to toxic levels of lead. Tons of lead melted during the fire. Groups now brought a lawsuit over those concerns. On top of that, only a fraction, the $940 million that was pledged by companies and wealthy families to help, has actually been delivered. New Jersey joining states in letting people use medicine to end their lives. This new law goes into effect today. It lets adults expected to live less than 6 months use a drug to end their lives. Now, 8 states, including Colorado and California, along with D.C., allow this. There's a new effort to protect young athletes. A high school in Tampa is taking part in a study to try and avoid heat-related tragedies. Now, it's having football players take a pill with a sensor inside, and it monitors vitals, so temperature, heart rate, hydration levels. Doctors believe that this could help identify people with higher health risks.
Because it's so hot outside and humid, it's really important to see what's happening to their bodies physically.
So 32 players are going to take part in this study for 10 days. We also now have an update to salmonella concerns that are tied to pig ear treats for dogs. CDC and FDA now say that people should not buy the pig ears, and if you already have some, just throw them away. The agencies say they can be dangerous to both people and dogs. Testing's been done by both groups on pig ears from various brands. Nearly 130 people across 33 states have gotten sick. All right, well, let's get back to our lineup here on the Now. We're getting an exclusive look at the place keeping some of the universe's most famous space rocks.
We try really hard to preserve the rocks so that the science that we learn from the rocks can be trusted.
We're going to take you inside the Lunar Lab coming up.